Presented by Prize Picks. Get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 and use the promo code WELCOME, one and all, to Light Years. Tommy, how you doing, my man?
I'm doing good, dude. Had a nice Labor Day weekend. Decided to invest in a new office chair because it feels like we're going to be sitting in this thing for a little bit longer.
Day 65 in the chair. You finally decided to take care of your lower back.
Yeah, my back was starting to hurt, so it was time. It was time to get a new chair. But no, man, all things are good on this front. Enjoying some beautiful weather down here in Southern California. The water's been like 75 degrees in the ocean lately, so I've been trying to get in there for like an hour a day if I can. But yeah, everything's good here, man. Everything's good on my side.
Yeah, dude, this off season's gone so long. I actually threw out my back and ended up in a chiropractor's office. Got some cortisone. Back's feeling better. Upgraded my lumbar support. Now I have like the Uber driver lower back pillow in my car.
Love it.
Feeling really cool with that, but it does work. Everything.
You're just washed, man. You're just washed. It's okay.
I'm 100% washed, but that's okay. That's okay. So are the Warriors. They just don't know it yet.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we got a special guest today. I'm actually excited on this one. So I've been a big fan of this guy's content for a while. And like most people, I started seeing the Nerd Sesh content, honestly, more on YouTube Shorts, but like TikTok, any short form platform. And I was always impressed because I liken myself to someone who's pretty good with trivia and stats and has like an encyclopedia knowledge of sports. But then like I watched Carson run through some of these, and I'm just like, fuck, I'm not on that. I can't control that. That's, I can give you the last 10 years of Warriors draft picks. I don't think I can give you the last 50 years.
Yeah, the Chrysler looks like a Phantom until the Phantom pulls up. That's exactly what it is.
And I didn't know this until recently. Our mutual friend Jason kind of clued me on this, but Carson is a Bay Area guy and a Warriors fan too. You hide it well with your content. Like obviously I've consumed a decent amount of Nerd Sesh content. I didn't pick up on the Warriors slant or just the fact that you grew up a Warriors fan.
Well, I try to be objective as much as I can, obviously. And just to be like totally truthful, I do feel like now that I am covering the league, watching every team so intensively, like to some extent, I don't know how much it's been deliberate. I feel like my Warriors fandom passion has been dialed down from its peak levels. Not to say that like I'm not still a Warriors fan, because that is still my team, but I think that in some ways that's like a benefit for me, at least when it comes to trying to talk rationally about them.
Is it trying to be rational about them, or is it just 5 years of being gaslit with the two timelines plan?
Maybe it's a healthy combination of the two. Because there's been a lot more frustration than excitement, I guess, in recent years. But thank you guys for having me on. Also, you're being way too complimentary about what is clearly a mental illness on my part. It's not a good thing to be able to recite the things that I can recite. It's definitely diagnosable.
We're all like a little on the spectrum, so it's okay. It's no big deal.
It is what it is. Self-awareness is huge.
Yeah.
Dude, let's get to it. So the big news of today is Cam Thomas, the first of the restricted. I cannot believe we got to September 4th before a restricted free agent signed. Part of me was like, there's a chance this could drag out a little bit. In my mind, drag out was like July 15th.
Yeah.
Not probably September 15th for Kuminga. And he did what people were alluding to. He took the qualifying offer. 1 year, $6 million. He has a no trade clause, just basically a nuclear option for the Nets. Like he's untradeable now. He will be on another team next year. He's betting on the fact that next summer, unrestricted free agency, maybe a friendlier market for players. He can get the deal he wants. In his case, and I don't blame him for thinking this, he saw how much money like Quickly and Jordan Poole got, and he's like, I'm just as good as those guys. Honestly, maybe in the same ballpark, definitely in the same. Come on, you understand the mentality. Is like that guy gets 30 a year, and I'm getting 8. Sure. Get me closer to that. So that's kind of. But pre CBA, it's a different world. You're gonna have to get used to it. Not all things are fair. But who gives a fuck about the Nets? They're going to suck anyway next year. So that's not really what I want to talk about. Kuminga. Now what do we get? Another story today talking about how he's leaning towards taking the qualifying offer, I'll start with you, Carson. Do you actually think he will take the qualifying offer, and do you care if he takes it?
I don't really see the alternative for him at this point. Like, I don't see the long-term deal coming. At least I hope to God it's not coming. And so at that point, he's obviously just going to keep doing the like bet on myself thing. I'm a star. I just need to be given star opportunity. And I guess he'll view next year unrestricted free agency as the opportunity to go get that big money. But I don't think it's coming. I mean, I just don't see the market being there with the new CBA, with just like every offseason, how few teams actually have cap money to spend, like people who actually have that space. I just don't see Kuminga, with all his flaws, being a guy who really demands the kind of price that he's hoping for. So I think this whole situation has been super disappointing and annoying. And I mean, we already touched on this a little bit with like the gaslighting, but I never wanted them to take Kuminga, not because of who he was as a prospect, but because I thought that draft pick should have been traded for a win now player, just like I did with the Wiseman pick. And so for us to still be here 4 years deep, still having such mixed results from him on the court, still having him like deservedly getting DNPs late into the season because he just cannot do the complementary things that are needed of a player in his role. Like, it's all very frustrating to me. And so, no, I don't care. Like, my only priority as a Warriors fan is to have Jonathan Kuminga off this team, because I think that it just ends up being a negative. Like, it would be great to say, oh, but what's the sign and trade that we can get? And it's like, man, clearly nothing. Here we are at September 4th. There's no market for it. So let's just get this thing over with. They messed up the situation, but you don't need to keep digging yourself deeper and deeper.
Yeah, I just think it's disappointing how many, and Sam and I have talked about this ad nauseum, but how many off ramps they had that they just didn't take. You know, like even on draft night, the Siakam offer was there. Like it could have been 7 and 14 plus Wiggins and whatever else was throwing in small contracts to make the salaries work, you know, and they didn't do it. And it just, there was so many opportunities to get a Siakam and OG Anunoby, or even various levels of guys that would have been more helpful.
We're down to Malik Monk.
I mean, shoot, dude,
and I still would have taken it.
I'd take
like
Malik
enthusiastically.
Yeah, Malik's really good, man. And I understand the fit issues with Malik Monk. Like, it would be tough to play him and Steph together for 25 to 30 minutes in a playoff setting. I understand that. But it's not like we haven't seen that formula work with Jordan Poole. And that was with lesser top-end talent than they have right now. Like, there was no Jimmy Butler on that roster. And as good as Andrew Wiggins was in the 2022 finals run, he's still not anywhere near what Jimmy Butler provides, especially as like somebody who can create offense for others and somebody who just is a foul drawing magnet, better free throw shooter. Like, we can go down and down the list about how much better Jimmy is than Andrew Wiggins. But yeah, it's just disappointing. And I think the only my copium with Cam Thomas taking the qualifying offer is that maybe this is like a similar-ish kick in the pants to what the Luka trade did for Joe, being like, you know, we have to go get somebody now because the Lakers just got Luka, so now we got to go make some type of move, and they go and get Jimmy. Maybe this kind of like gives them a kick to say, hey, this now became more of a real thing because Kuminga just saw somebody else take the qualifying offer. So now maybe they'll believe that he'll do it, and it'll force them to take some type of deal that's already on the table. But at the end of the day, I'm just hoping and praying that happens. It doesn't feel likely at all.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm aligned with you guys in spirit, but part of me is sitting here going, I get what the Warriors are trying to do with this, in some ways, disrespectful offer. The 1+1, 20 mil a year. They just want to have 20 million of expiring to work with at the trade deadline. I get it. Now, will I enjoy it if that's what he ends up back on and we have to deal with the drama, you know, around game 12 because he's only playing 18 minutes or whatever? No, I probably won't enjoy it in that moment, but I understand why they're doing it. I think that the bigger question here is like just how bad this would be for the Warriors if he ends up on a qualifying offer, because it just severely hampers their ability to improve the roster, just like cap-wise. Like, they're kind of counting on Kuminga being a $20 million chip. Like, I don't even think anyone's even lying about him being a contributor to this team. They just want to have a $20 million expiring trade chip. Like, he might as well be a traded player exception at that point, right? But without it, like, what are the other avenues to improve this roster? Like, okay, he takes a qualifying offer. Al Horford gets more money. That's good for Al. Doesn't really help the Warriors. It seems like he's willing to take whatever the offer is. And then beyond that, it's like, okay, Moses Moody, he makes 11. Buddy makes 9. That's 20. That's okay, but it's not getting you to interesting trade proposals. It's not getting you to the players you want to get to. Whereas if Kuminga is just a $20 million piece to play with, him and Moody and Pods, that's 35. You could do something interesting there, or, him and Buddy, that's 30. You could do a lot of different things. I wonder if this is going to get to a place where the Warriors do somewhat guarantee that second year just so they have a better shot at making a trade.
It's an interesting point. But at the end of the day, I don't know how aggressive in the trade market the Warriors actually reasonably can be. I understand that is the sort of ideal hypothetical, but at the end of the day, when you have $150 million tied up in 3 players already, that's just so limiting. And you can't just trade your last couple of contracts actually on the books necessarily. That is Moody, that is Buddy, and package all those guys together and literally be left with such extremely limited depth when depth is already such a question. And I think there are right now only 3 legitimate playoff players, dudes who would be in other teams' playoff rotations. And they're all awesome, obviously, with Steph, Jimmy, and Dre. But after that, everybody else is so flawed. I don't know. I just think not to be a doomer, but to some extent, it does feel like a little bit of a moot point because the grave has already been dug, because it's just kind of too late at this point with the roster as it is. And that's not to say that they shouldn't be working to improve as much as they can, but I don't know if that splashy move through a Kuminga trade is ever going to come, even if he is at $20 million a year.
I mean, I didn't expect this level of pessimism from you, honestly. I was like, man, it's it's a beautiful day in Southern California, and I'm just I was trying to enjoy.
Well, it's a little foggier up here, so I guess maybe I've got that cloud over my head.
Seasonal depression is a real thing. But I think I'm maybe a little bit higher on their potential depth. If they get Horford, if they get Melton, there's a couple other names floating around. I kind of like Brogdon if he can stay healthy. And you're essentially, the way I've looked at it is if you have Melton, you have Brogdon, you're essentially platooning those guys against each other because they're both injury risks. So you're hoping you get 100 plus total games out of them. Horford, you're hoping you get 60. Dre, you're hoping about the same thing. And you kind of just have this roster where you can constantly platoon guys and you have 12-ish playable guys. But I mean, I see Buddy's obviously very up and down, and so is Moody, and so is Pods, but I think Buddy's second year in the system, and if I'm taking obviously the optimist view here, which I typically don't do, so I'm glad to have a foil where I can actually do this. I think Buddy's second year in the system, he is going to be more comfortable. I think the playoffs were actually very big for him in a way, having that Game 7 in Houston. He kind of cemented himself as a guy who's going to be here. You would hope that Moody and Pods both take at least a mini leap. They were both dealing with injuries in the playoffs. But I do think this roster has a chance to have pretty solid depth. But the Kuminga thing is it's just hanging over everything. And the bigger question is it even workable when he's back with the team? What does it even look like? Because it just feels like it's going to be so toxic from the first moment of camp.
Mm-hmm.
If he's on I hadn't really considered it until we talked about it a week ago. If he's back on a qualifying offer, I think he's just straight to DNPs. I don't think he's going to get what he wants out of that. They're going to have, because at least if he's on that 20 million 1+1 deal, they're going to have every incentive to make him look good, even if making him look good is 18 minutes a game, second unit scorer, kind of like what Steve was doing with him down the stretch last year, which was you're not going to be the two-way guy who does complimentary things for us. So we'll just let you go out there and shoot when Steph's off the floor. There is the reality in which they're incentivized to do that because any value that they can drum up from him is better than no value at all. Sure. If he's on a qualifying offer and they know he's walking.
Yeah.
Unless he does exactly what Steve wants, he's not getting on the floor. There's no long-term investment there. It's just kind of hey, if you lock in and defend, I'll play you. If you don't, I'll play Moses Moody at the 4 until his hand breaks again. Yeah. I don't know. Something like that.
Yeah. I'd almost rather not have to deal with the pressure of feeling we have given him 20 million, so we do have to play him. And I understand the point that you're making about driving up his value, but last year, are we ever going to get a stretch, or this next year, are we going to get a better stretch in terms of driving up his value than the 15 games in December it was, right? When he was averaging 20 points per game. Like, no, that's not going to be replicated. And trying to force him into a role where he could put up that sort of production and flash that sort of upside. Like, I think that comes at the expense of the actual objectives of this team. Yeah. So I just don't know if like dangling him out there as a carrot is valuable enough to offset that, when I don't think the league is high on Kuminga. And I think we've seen
they're clearly not. They're clearly not high on him as they're letting everyone know this offseason. Like that's I feel like part of the frustration of the whole 2 timeline thing has been these endless conversations.
Yes.
Among fans about how these young guys are so good and they're being held back. And to your point, the league's telling you what they think of him. The only 2 teams that want him are teams we associate as laughing stocks, the Kings and the Suns, or the Bulls. The offers that, and the offers they're putting on the table are like, I mean, I'd take Malik Monk too, because like at least I know what he can do. He's a good 6 man, right? He's going to come in there. He's going to have 10 games a year where his offense probably ignites a win, right?
Yeah,
10's a lot, but you get what I'm saying. He's going to have those games where he scores 30 out of nowhere, and it's a night that Steph's dragging, and you're like, hey, he helped us win a game, that type of thing. I would do that, but like it just says everything that he went from, oh, this could be the next Kawhi Leonard to, here's Royce O'Neal. It's pretty discerning. I will say this though. Let me combat your point, Carson.
Yeah.
As much as I agree with you on the macro of his game and how he fits into the team, there's a lot of season, and Jimmy sits. He's better than Moses Moody trying to create his own offense. Steph sits. It's better to have Kuminga try to figure out his own offense than, who is their backup point guard right now? Oh, they don't even have a backup point guard right now. That's
hopefully it will be Melton or Brogdon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, you get what I'm saying. It's like as imperfect as he is, I do think you can kind of clench your teeth and make it work to the trade deadline. And I think at least now we'd be under, like, everyone's kind of honest about, like, let's all do our best so we can get Jonathan to a place where he'll be happy, on February 1st or whatever the trade deadline is.
So let's say he takes the QO, right? I think there's 2 schools of thought to this, or 2 ways to view it. One, he comes in more motivated to do the things that he needs to do to improve his value, to get on the court first so he can improve his value in the offseason. I don't see that as a likely path, because he has never done that in his career over 4 years, as much as the coaching staff, as much as Steph Curry, Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, all these guys have pleaded with him throughout the years to do these things. Or, in my opinion, you just send him home. Do you think that's something that they would even consider doing? Just like, hey, man, we're not going to deal with this. Go sit at home. That's very like, I don't think.
Isn't that what happened with Nerlens Noel? The last like high lotto pick that was in line to get a nice contract, that he took the qualifying offer, and I mean, he's not even in the league anymore. No. Isn't that what happened with him when he was on the qualifying offer? He came back, he did the same thing that they just ended up sending him home.
Yeah. I don't know. I can't write it off.
This is dark. That's all.
Look,
Carson started it.
I'm sorry. I have just had so much more than enough with the whole Kuminga saga. And obviously now, like, the fit with Jimmy on court is so disastrous. Like, lineups with those 2, they've got like a -12 net rating. And it's brutal. Like you said, Tommy, like, to me, the idea that Kuminga now this year is going to buy into doing the little things, defending, like, his feel is going to get better. Like, it literally might as well be a fantasy, because we're 4 years deep and people can talk about, oh, well, Kerr has a duty, to develop his young guys and let them figure it out. And it's like, not when Steph Curry is on your team. When Steph Curry is on your team, your job is to complement Steph Curry as effectively as possible. And there are young players in situations around the league who are put in win now spots, and they are able to adjust, and they are able to still make an impact. And Kuminga has never for a second been one of those guys. So even if you do think he's talented, it's not going to work out with the Warriors. Like, that's just the reality. So I don't know what he brings on the basketball court, except you made the point, Sam, of like what he can bring in terms of like that offensive juice and stretches. And I can see that. But even in that mold, like, I would have just rather had Malik Monk if that deal was on the table.
Well, maybe we'll get him. I don't know. There's still a few more weeks here. I don't think we will, but maybe that's where we end up. Before we move on and get off of this incredibly dark topic, I want to tell you about our sponsors, guys. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this football season on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. God, football's back tonight, Tommy.
Dude, I cannot wait.
Preseason has actually made me angrier because every year there's just less and less players playing in preseason. So it's like they're teasing me with the worst possible version of football, and it just makes me realize I'm not watching actual football. So now that it's finally back, I'm excited. I finished all my fantasy drafts. I'm ready to get locked in tonight. And, I set my Prize Picks lineup, and I'm feeling pretty good. About this week. I'm picking the more on Christian McCaffrey yards. I'm picking a big bounce back here for Christian McCaffrey. Obviously not going to get to that till Sunday. I'm all in on the Niner resurgence this year. I'm going to speak it into existence because I do not want to live in the scenario where their season goes down the toilet and it's just rage for another 10 weeks in a row. Prize Picks is the best way to win real money this summer. Make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your sports takes into real money all season long. And enjoy the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You could double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. The app's really easy to use. Just create a lineup. All you have to do is pick more or less on a few player stats for your shot to win. Remember, guys, download the app today. Use the code LIGHTYEARS. Get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. It's free money. Set the lineup. Use the code LIGHTYEARS. Put $5 in. They give you $50 immediately. Prize Picks. Run your game.
Light Years Podcast. We are brought to you by Factor. Between busy schedules and summer plans, sometimes all I've got is a couple minutes. Factor helps me eat smarter with tasty chef-prepared meals that are dietitian approved and delivered right to my door. And now, with more than 65 weekly meals made for how I live and what I like to eat, I've got even more ways to fit in a real meal wherever the day takes me. For the first time, try Asian-inspired meals with bold flavors influenced by China, Thailand, and more. For more choices to better nutrition, that's why 97% of customers say that Factor has helped them live a healthier life. Feel the difference no matter your routine. They really do help, by the way. I mean, it makes stuff so much easier when I've got a busy day. I'm running between meetings.
I'm about to make a Factor right after we record this podcast because I got about 15 minutes before I got to get to a meeting. So
exactly,
to your point, efficiency.
It's the name of the game these days, man. It really is. So eat smart at factormeals.com/lightyears50 off and use code lightyears50 off to get 50% off your first box plus free breakfast for 1 year. That's code lightyears50 off at factormeals.com for 50% off your first box plus free breakfast for 1 year. Get delicious, ready to eat meals delivered with Factor. Offer only valid for new Factor customers with code and qualifying auto renewing subscription purchase.
Well, there is another story that's kind of dominating the NBA right now. I assume you guys are all up to date on Kawhi Leonard, the environmental philanthropist.
What a guy.
Just incredible. Incredible.
More details are coming out. God, no, probably new details will come out between the time we record this and it's published, to be honest. Seems like the NBA is doing an investigation. John Krause put out something here that says the money initially reported was low, and it's more like 48 million to Kawhi. Whew, this entire thing is kind of wild. I mean, I guess I want to ask both of you guys, does this surprise you? Does it surprise you that players are getting paid under the table or something like this would be going on?
I mean, it's always kind of almost been like an open secret. Not that there's just been kind of, I mean, even when Kawhi signed, there was like kind of rumblings that there was some underhanded dealing going on. And like, you can even look towards the Knicks. Was it last summer when Brunson takes that massive discount? Like literally like I think it's like a $60 million discount or something absolutely insane on his extension. And you just have to figure, and whether it's like something like this, which seems pretty,
sloppy,
sketchy.
and
Yeah,
brazen.
sloppy, brazen, sketchy, and then like the gaslighting in terms of the statements that the Clippers are putting out today, saying this is not why that the Clippers made what was the name of the guy, Aspire or Aspiration, that this is not why they made him a sponsor. It's just like, how stupid do you think we are? Like, these things are clearly going on. And part of it is because, like, and this is a wider conversation, but part of it is like, because the NBA is a salary cap league, the superstars, the real true superstars, which there's about 8 of in the entire league, they are not paid commensurate with their value to these franchises. And they know that, and they know the power that they hold. So they can demand these extra things. Like Steph makes what, $60 million a year. In reality, he could be paid $150 million a year, and it probably still wouldn't be enough for the value he's provided the Warriors over the past 15 to 16 years. So, like, the NBA is going to have these problems until I think they come up with a better solution for the way that they handle salaries and they structure the salary cap. I don't know what that is. I'm not smart enough to figure that out, but these just feel like issues that are going to continue to arise until those things are solved.
To me, it's also not even, to your point, the total value, because I would argue Steph and LeBron have outsized value because of their marketing appeal, like beyond what they do in terms of translating to wins and losses. Like, Steph is a global icon in ways that Kawhi could never be, right? Sure. So putting all that aside, just the sheer fact that there's a max, and, you know, all 30 teams would have given Kawhi Leonard a max in 2019. It leads to who can sweeten the pot in the grayest ways possible, because that's the only way you can negotiate it. Whereas like in the NFL, it's kind of, you know, you have a hard cap, like you have, what is it, 250 this year, 270, something like that. It doesn't matter. But like, there's a total amount you can spend, and then it's up to you to decide how you want to do it. So it's almost like your auction draft with your buddies, where you're like, who's going to be the crazy person to go all in on one guy and then piecemeal it around him. You can't even do that in NBA. It's just kind of like, all right, what's the max for a superstar who's played 10 years? It's this number. Okay, we're offering that. So I think it kind of makes him do it.
I will say I'm moderately surprised by it. And the reason for that is, I mean, I think you used the right word, Tommy. Like, it is brazen. And to be so brazen when the precedent that was set, albeit a long time ago, but the Joe Smith situation literally destroyed the Timberwolves, like, and for no damn reason too, because what a terrible contract they were trying to pay him to begin with, giving Joe Smith 7 years, $86 million. But use 5 first-round draft picks. Your head coach gets suspended for a year. Your owner gets suspended for a year. And like, literally, the greatest player in your franchise history might be the greatest player your franchise ever has. Ant might have something to say about, but Kevin Garnett is a top 15 player ever. You could never build a competent team around him. So I just think that, you would have to imagine, inspires some fear, or should, especially because to me, this is worse. Like, the under the table promise of a future contract obviously is still cap circumvention. It's bad. That's what happened with Joe Smith. But to go and use outside funds to go beyond what the cap allows, like, that is to me more significant, and it's more of a competitive advantage, certainly. And even though I am moderately surprised, I will say this is the least surprising situation that this news could have come out of, because first of all, like, Kawhi was not eligible to make the sort of like absolutely mind-blowing money, like a Shea $70+ million a year extension, right? Because he didn't have full bird rights. He was moving as a free agent. So I think that's part of it.
Was 30% lower that year.
Cap was lower too, right? So you're trying to make up for it a little bit in some ways like that. I think if you are staying for a full homegrown bird rights deal, like, you have less incentive to try and do something like that. And then the other thing is, Tommy, you mentioned this, like some of just the rumors around at the time, like Uncle Dennis was known to be kind of a crazy guy. He was asking for private plane usage. He was asking for partial ownership of teams, like all these things that you cannot do. And that was already known. So yes, this situation was always a bit sketchy, but nevertheless, I do think like this is a big story, and we'll see how the NBA handles it, because I think you have to try and come out and put the scare into teams to some extent, because if you have a $175 billion net worth owner, he can just go writing these checks in a way that certain smaller owners can't.
So I'm assuming you think they will be punished in a significant way.
Well,
there will be a, let me rephrase this. Whether it's Ballmer, whether it's the Clippers, there will be a significant punishment handed out.
I think there should be. I'm not saying necessarily that I think there will be. I think they should probably lose at least one. 2 to me would be the right amount of first round picks. And then obviously the maximum fine that they can, but that's so insignificant. It's like $7.5 million, I think. So that's nothing. But if it is not something that comes at the expense of their ability to build a winning team, because that's going to hurt Steve Ballmer the most, because he's obsessed with that basketball team. You got to do something like that, or else the NBA is telling you, we don't care. And now with a stricter CBA, with more difficult cap situations to build around, the second apron limitations, all this, teams are just going to be more incentivized to do this and go beyond and outside the cap if they're seeing, oh, all right, we'll take a fine. Who cares? Like, we want to build the best team that we can. And if this is how we got to do it, then we'll do that.
I'm predicting nothing happens. I'm going to go full black pill on this one.
Wow.
I don't think they're going to get in trouble. I don't think they're going to be able to prove that there was actual salary cap circumvention. I don't think Ballmer is sloppy enough to have like an email or like a written trail saying it. Bad business deals happen all the time. It looks terrible. It's certainly embarrassing. I think they're going to get away with it. And I actually think they're going to get away with it for the most cynical reason possible. I think other teams are doing this. I think the Warriors have done this. I mean, the Warriors have a guy who introduces their players to startup investors, you know, like the Knicks, God knows what they do. The Lakers probably invented this game. Like that was their entire thing, like Hollywood. And that was like back when that was a bigger mode of business, like get you in car commercials and, you know, into the movies and whatnot. I think everyone's doing it. Ballmer's just doing it on a level that no one else can because he's 10x richer than everyone else. But the reason I think it will not get exposed is he knows other teams are doing it. And I think he'll play the card of, if you come down on me, I'm going to make sure a lot of stuff gets out about the Knicks, the Warriors, the Bulls, probably not the Bulls, but you know, like all these other teams. That is, maybe this is a 2-on-line cynical perspective, but that's where my head's at with it. I think this whole thing's going to get swept under the rug.
Wow.
That's where I'm at.
I think it's just such a black eye for the league. It just really is, because I think the NBA like tries to purport themselves as like this very progressive league in a ways, and a lot of the things they do, they don't really follow through on that. But I don't understand how you just think there's nothing's going to happen. Like they're not going to get punished at all. They're just going to sweep it under the rug. I don't know if I can see that, man. Like I think it's just
slap on the, let me reframe.
Okay.
Slap on the wrist.
Okay.
I think,
so does that mean no draft picks are taken?
I think if they get one draft pick taken, it's a slap on the wrist.
One first.
I think your point about Joe Smith is an accurate one. The Joe Smith trade effectively ruined Kevin Garnett's prime. Now they may have not built a good team anyway, but like when you don't have draft picks and you're Minnesota, you just don't have a shot at doing it. And like they were bad. They were bad while he was great. If they wanted to punish the Clippers, you're correct. They would make it so that they're fucked team building wise. You know, take away 4 first-round picks, make it so that like they're constricted. Because to your point, like there's just not a fine they can levy that's going to actually impact Ballmer in any capacity, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think they're going to do it. I think they're going to give him a fine, and it's going to be a slap on the wrist. Maybe lose a pick. Maybe it's going to be. I think it's going to be insignificant. I think you guys are. Whenever it comes out, I think you're both going to roll your eyes and be like, well, that's bullshit.
Yeah. Here's the one point that I would make where I think that this could be different from what you're talking about with the Lakers, the Warriors, the Knicks, these big market teams who say, oh, let me introduce you to this person with mega wealth and they'll pay you to fulfill whatever minimal requirement.
Here's the
Fulfilling
CEO of
a minimal requirement is different than doing nothing, which is part of what's so mind-boggling about this to me. Like the fact that they couldn't have Kawhi dish out a couple retweets, make a couple public appearances, like anything to legitimize the contract, plant a couple trees. That's where I think there is just such a media storm about this right now. And maybe Silver really doesn't care, but that would be so permissive. And I cannot imagine, because Pablo Torre is digging deep, man. And he's already kind of hinted, I'm going to look at the Brunson situation. Like, I don't think he's going to let this die. So if there are more equivalent situations, I think that they will probably come to light. And then either Adam Silver's hand is forced to do something, or it is like not just an open secret, it is open knowledge that in the NBA, every team can do this. They might as well not have cap circumvention policies. They might as well not have a salary cap. And I just think that's too significant to go totally unpunished.
Well, that's actually a really good point, Carson. And by the way, it's good to bring up the fact that Pablo Torre is the one uncovering all this. He's doing incredible work. If people aren't watching, like it's really fun stuff. It's a fantastic podcast. But do you think this could potentially go the route that essentially free agency went like 10-ish years ago, where it was just like known that teams were talking before the moratorium ended, and as soon as free agency opened, and this doesn't really happen as much anymore, but as soon as free agency opened, 50 deals just flooded through the door. It's like, oh, you're technically not supposed to talk, but all these guys are signing as soon as free agency opens. Do you think cap circumvention can just go the same way? I don't think it can, because it feels a little bit more risky is not the right word. It just feels like a worse look for the league, for lack of a better term. But it feels like the NBA just like, if everybody's doing it, they just kind of stop caring and they just kind of turn a blind eye to it.
I see what you're saying. And that's where it'll be interesting. Like, how common is this actually? Like, is this universal? Is this just the Clippers? Is this just a couple of the biggest markets in a couple isolated instances? Is this just Brunson and Kawhi? Because obviously Brunson is the next major discount you look at. But I don't know, man. It just seems so easy to me to say, okay, come to the Knicks, come to Los Angeles, because you are going to more than make up whatever you're conceding with your contract in legitimate endorsements, because you're in the biggest markets in the world. To have to say Steve Ballmer gives $50 million, $28 million of that funnels directly to his player for him to do absolutely nothing, as is clearly stipulated in the contract. And if he leaves the Clippers, the contract is voided. This partnership with Aspiration, this separate company, like, I do see what you're saying. To me, it feels like this is a little bit too underhanded. It's too much of a no-no for it to just be like, let them play, let them do whatever they want.
Well, isn't that the problem here? So I agree with you. This has gone on in every sport since the beginning of time. It's why players always want to go to big markets. The idea is, if I'm in a big market, I have a better chance of networking with business people who can ultimately get me other deals. And I do think most teams still operate in that fashion, where it's not like, if you come to the Lakers, we got like XY deal lined up for you, as much as like, we'll take you to the, you can go to the Laker Lounge. You'll meet like all the heads of the major studios. There'll be so many more opportunities here than are opportunities in, Oklahoma City or something like that. Right. Like, I think that's generally how it works. What you guys have not spoken about is, unless there is a paper trail that makes it abundantly clear before he signed that this was going to get to him, they can play it off the same way as saying like, yeah, he met the Aspiration people at a Clippers game. They're season ticket holders. He just networked with them. This is no different than how Shaq networked with, the heads of studios in the 90s and got, in Shazam or whatever fucking movie he did back then and that sort of thing. You can play it off that way. And even if it is a complete slap in the face to your intelligence and my intelligence, unless you can actually prove it, I don't know what you can do about it. I don't know. Like, I guess the only thing I would say in your guys' favor, because I clearly feel about it differently than you do, given how sloppy Kawhi seems to operate and just how much he just like doesn't even care to pretend, like, doesn't even care to throw a retweet to like put up the illusion that he's a spokesman. There is a chance that there's like a text or something that sloppily is like, where's my money? There is a chance that there's something that egregiously dumb out there that would eventually lead to a true punishment.
And there's a lot of information coming to light about Aspiration, because they're going through their whole separate federal investigation because they defrauded people and now they're bankrupt. So like, I just think there's a lot of eyes on this whole situation, and the reporting is already pretty thorough. Like, I guess the question is, what burden of proof does the NBA have to meet here? Because obviously common sense is overwhelming, but there is so much evidence of the legal language within the contract, which I'm not an expert about, like how much that can exculpate them from this whole thing. But it is so ridiculous that the contract can be voided if he's not with the Clippers, that like literally every single theoretical obligation, they're like, Kawhi doesn't actually have to do this if he doesn't want to. And he didn't actually do any of that stuff. The fact that Ballmer was such a significant investor.
Things. We know that much about him.
Yeah, for sure. But like, it's just so far beyond breadcrumbs. It's like, we got the whole cake here, man. So I don't know. I think it's going to be interesting. to see how they handle it.
Even the timeline of it is like, it was before he signed his extension in 2021, because it wasn't initially when he signed. Essentially, aspiration.
And that's the other part. That's the other part of it. If this stuff was, when did he sign? Like July 1st, 2019. If this stuff was like traced to like June 15th or something, they'd be like, all right, they're clearly circumventing the cap, getting him an extra 50 mil up front.
Yeah, but I mean, it was like aspiration came on in like September 2021, and then Kawhi takes a discount on his extension by like 40 million 2 months later. So like there is a timeline that still is a little bit murky, but like Carson's saying, like, what are the guidelines for cap circumvention and what is the burden of proof for that? Like what is the criteria that has to be met to prove this and to hand out a punishment? I mean, it's all crazy, man. I'm not surprised, but it's just, the NBA's
I do have one other rant on this that I want to
oh God, here we go.
Get your guys' opinions on, and this is actually in your favor.
Yeah.
I think Kawhi is the reason the new CBA exists, more so than any other player. I think teams had been kind of greasing the wheel and living in gray areas to appease superstars for a period. Like LeBron is probably the best example of someone who just kind of pushed how far he could push a team for power, right? But in LeBron's case, like he always kind of backed it up. Like he shows up to every game. He plays at a level higher than basically anyone. Like as annoying as he is to deal with, and I know Cleveland thought he was annoying to deal with, they make that deal every time because he held up his end of the bargain, and not just on the court, although that's by far the most important. Also just like as a leader, being front facing, doing all the things you expect of a guy.
Yep.
By the time again to Kawhi, it's like, hey, I want all the same power. I want all the same perks, but I want to do nothing other than show up when I'm healthy, which increasingly is less often. And I think that's kind of the part where the teams started getting fed up with. They're like, hey, it's one thing if we got to deal with this for LeBron James. He's LeBron. Or like if Steph contorted himself that way, it's like, okay, but he backs it up. Yeah. It's another for, it's like, all right, I don't want to do this for every guy who's like pretty good or really good or that. And I think that's what led to them hardlining on the CBA in this structure.
That's interesting. And maybe, I don't know if it'd be a direct correlation, but maybe that's part of the reason he's a big part of the reason that a lot of the 65 game plus stipulations are put in for all NBA, because it's like that does affect, at the end of the day, that does affect the type of contracts guys are able to get, like, especially in your, initial supermax extension off your rookie like all that type of stuff. That's very affected by making a first team all NBA, making an, getting a defensive player of the year, all these things. So that's actually something I hadn't considered at all, but it's a really good point. Kawhi obviously he's had a lot of injury issues, but I think and you can only do so much to avoid those, but a lot of it's just like not showing up and like being around the team when you're not injured. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't do any of the leadership stuff when he's not around the team, which is like, that's why I never ever believed in the Clippers. Every offseason, people would do this thing with the Clippers. It's like, I don't trust them, man. There's no cohesion there. Like at the end of the day, you can stack as much talent as you want. Basketball still is a game of like cohesion and chemistry and like buy-in. Like you need those things in the deepest, darkest, toughest moments of a playoff series. And the Clippers just don't have that. They never will with Kawhi as their leader.
In the two teams he was on that did win titles, like he was the best player, but he was not the leader of either team.
Not even
like
close.
Tim Duncan was the leader. Like they had, the Spurs infrastructure goes out saying with Duncan, Manu, and Tony and Pop, but like on the Raptors, like it was Lowry, Marc Gasol, like Danny Green, like these veterans are like he just showed up and he was the guy who got the ball when the offense broke down, which is very important, and he's one of the best ever at it. But in terms of the leader of the team, that was not his role.
No, he is sort of an interesting instance of like, it feels like when people complain about player empowerment going too far in the NBA, they're basically talking about Kawhi. And like, there's multiple instances you point of, right? The entire 2018 season sitting out. Obviously, he was hurt with the Spurs, but could he have only played 9 games? Like that whole situation getting as ugly as it did. And then like, you kind of can't overstate how unprecedented it is to go to a team, win the title, have the defining moment of your career, and then immediately leave. And not just that, like totally create this new infrastructure of, okay, well, I want you to give up all of your young talent, future assets to bring in Paul George. And we're just going to do things like, I don't know if that's ever going to happen again. So that is an interesting point about sort of just the league's response to that from him because he is kind of unique even in the player empowerment era.
And how bad does that look now, by the way? Like, especially with the way what Shea has turned into, and who, like, I love Shea as a prospect.
Jalen was there. Jalen was a Clippers pick, technically.
Yep. Yeah.
Yep.
Like, yeah. It's like, I mean, the Thunder won that trade, you know, so
they won a literal championship because of it. And like, nobody ever talks about that from a Kawhi perspective. It's kind of nuts.
Yeah.
No,
I will be very interested to see what the fallout is.
Yes.
And I think it's going to maybe come down to just how much people from aspiration talk. And that's where I think like some of the evidence is going to be greatly aided by the fact that a lot of aspiration employees are seemingly like pissed, totally like
because they were defrauded.
Exactly.
Like, clearly the CEO founder of this company is under some he's got some fun and whatever federal charges he gets.
It almost feels like a Theranos situation, like not quite at that level, just because Theranos is literally like you're risking human life, and this isn't quite that level. But just in terms of like the amount of like slight-handedness and underhandedness that happened, it's like almost that level. And like the head man is like basically that much of a sociopath. And
with like so many major people involved, so many major investors and celebrity representatives on this side. So I don't know. It's going to be like kind of a defining moment for Adam Silver. Not one of the big ones, but like certainly a unique one on this issue.
Sure.
You mentioned the CEO is a sociopath. So let's pivot to another sociopath here.
That might be your best transition ever.
Is he on the best podcast run for an NBA player?
Define best.
Hottest for sure. Yeah. I don't know if I like any of the takes, but
he's 0 for 1,000, I'd say.
He's putting him out there. He's getting shots up. I'll put it that way. Shoot.
He does that.
He is. I'm not going to touch any of them other than this one. He said he's the second best shooter in the NBA. I was like, relax. But then I started thinking he might be in my top 5 shooters in the NBA. Am I out of my mind for thinking Mike MPJ is one of the 5 best shooters in the NBA?
How are we defining shooter? Like, are we accounting for ability to create off the dribble as a pull-up shooter?
Yes.
Okay.
I think it's everything. Okay. So Steph is not the best shooter in the NBA, the greatest of all time. And it's because he's A+ at every type of shooting, operating off ball, coming off curls, coming off screens, with the ball in his hands, isolation. Floaters. Like there's nothing in the category of shooting he is not A+ at, right? So when I say best shooter overall, I'm looking at all aspects of it, and no one's going to come in as good as Steph. No. But like, I'll use Damian Lillard as an example. Dame is phenomenal off the dribble, but that's really it. Like, I wouldn't have had him in my top 5 shooters, even if he's the only other guy who can shoot, 30 foot off the dribble the way Steph can.
Okay.
I've never seen him like operate off ball the way, like Clay or MPJ does. So like, I'm talking the totality of shooting. And Tommy, I'm sure you have stronger opinions than me on this, but that's where I'm coming at from.
I think Carson does too. So I'm actually very interested to see where this conversation goes. I'll let Carson go first, and then I'll kind of give my top 5.
Well, I was just going to say, I think that when you're talking about all around ability to shoot the basketball, accounting for off the dribble, accounting for off ball, accounting for the mid range, like all of these different components, I still think Dame has to be in that top 5 because yes, like I think that he is pretty clearly the second greatest pull-up three-point shooter in the history of this game, only to Steph Curry. Even if the percentage is only 37, 38, I mean, the range, the stress on defenses, it's the closest to Steph that we've ever seen. The volume, absolutely.
Yep.
Then he's also a really good mid-range shooter. Doesn't do it with like super high volume, right? Because size is a component there, but consistently shoots in the high 40s from mid-range. If you want to count for free throw shooting, I mean, he's one of the best ever there. He's literally 90% from the line. And no, he is not the level of shooter off the catch that a Clay is, that an MPJ is, right? He doesn't have that level of, the size component of shooting over contests. He doesn't necessarily have the footwork coming off of screens. It's just not as big a part of his game, but he's a super accurate shooter off the catch. His range is still crazy there. Like he always shoots above 40% off the catch from 3. So I think the difference in what he can do off the dribble is so much greater than the difference between like what an MPJ can do compared to him off the catch. Because MPJ could never in a million years create the shots for himself as a jump shooter that Dame can. So that to me is a bigger gap. And what Dame does is more valuable, because if we're valuing catch and shoot ability over pull up, now we're getting Luke Kennard and Malik Beasley and these guys way up there because they're amazing at that. They're amazing at that. But Dame can do something that only one other guy in NBA history has been better at.
I think that's where it becomes a value conversation, right? It's what provides more value.
I'll back off that point. I will say I agree with your point. You made a strong, compelling argument. Not all skills are compared equally. It's not a check each box as one. Like this box is the same. That's how you end up with a very average player being like listed as like the best of all time. He's a B at everything.
But I do think the component of shooting where it's like the true movement shooting, like even off the ball, is probably still a little bit undervalued. Like if Malik Beasley could consistently do what Malik Beasley did last year, he's an incredibly valuable player because he can warp defenses in a way that literally only like 5 to 10 guys in the league can.
Yeah.
And I think there's an ability to maybe create a little bit more confusion as an off-ball shooter. Obviously, Steph is the best ever because he can do both at an A+ level. But like, losing prime Klay Thompson created as much, discord in your defense as losing Steph did. You know what I mean? That's why they were so special together. So I think it really comes down to like, how do you value those skills? Obviously, Dame being able to go do it by himself, or like, a peak level Harden, the same thing where like they can just create a shot at any time. And if you're talking about playoff defenses, it's probably a little bit easier to gum up kind of those off-ball actions. You're able to be more physical. The game slows down a little bit more. Teams will just get into heavy switching of everything and they'll play more versatile lineups. So yeah, I think the off-dribble stuff is a little bit more, it's definitely a little bit more valuable. But being able to do like true movement shooting, I still think is a little bit undervalued. So I do think it's actually a very interesting conversation. And I do think, I don't know if I would have MPJ top 5, but I would have him close. Cause like, it's not just him being a standstill shooter. When he's like really going well, he can do it in any way. And even like a little bit off the dribble. But he doesn't have really the space creation that you'd want just because of all the injuries and stuff.
To do
it doesn't have the handle and all the back
low.
injuries. But dude, he can do it off of any type of off ball. Actually, he can do it sprinting in transition. And he's 6'10" and he shoots it from up here. So it's like he can get 8 to 9 off a game, even against the best defenses.
So I totally agree with all of that. I still just don't think it's as valuable as what a Dame can do, especially when you account for like the mid-range aspect of it all, right? Because that's just where like MPJ cannot put the ball on the floor. He cannot create the space. He cannot get low. And so that is totally a zero.
He's 6'10", and he can get shots. He can get shots off ball in ways that some of the guards that have to do it off the dribble could never.
I agree. And that's why I always thought that MPJ was like such an ideal release valve alongside a Jokic because like just that lightning quick, hyper efficient off ball scoring, the ability to do it against any level of contest because he can just shoot over top off movement. He's got all the footwork off ball. I think MPJ is one of the most gifted shooters ever. Here's what I'll say. I don't really see how, with the criteria we've laid out, there's an argument for anybody other than Kevin Durant as the second best shooter in the NBA.
I was gonna say, just thinking about it, it's the two I would put right behind Steph, KD, and then I'd have Kyrie right there too.
Kyrie
just in terms of
great show. Yep.
Yeah, because he's better off ball than Dame. He's also phenomenal at creating off the bounce from anywhere. Like he's one of the best shooters of all time. Period. And then once I started doing that exercise, I started realizing we're just listing old guys. Is there no one under the age of 30 that we're considering in these conversations? And then I come back to, is MPJ the best shooter under 30 in the NBA?
Ooh.
Probably not. But, just thinking about it, like all the guys we're listing are of a specific era. They're all mid-30s.
I think it's become so like everything, and this is like one of the issues that I have with kind of like the more modern and like younger game. Everything's like so specialized in a way. It's like the Thunder are obviously an incredible team, but it's like kind of SGA and Jalen, you guys go create off the bounce, you do everything, and then everybody else you just kind of like spot up and shoot and it's more complex than that. I'm being reductive here, but I do think these more kind of spaced out environments that guys have been playing in from younger years they've created less problem solving for players as they grow up. Like Steph clearly had to solve a lot of problems as a younger player because of, number one, his size, but like spacing environments weren't as ideal. So you're working in these more confined spaces, and that creates, or a Kyrie, or like any of these Kevin Durant, like any of these older guys who have a lot of creativity to their game. It's spurned by like essentially playing in more chaotic environments, where if you're playing in these really static environments where everything is very just kind of like A to B to C, I think it leads, like, what's the saying? Something is the necessity, or I'm going to fuck up the saying, so it doesn't matter, but like creativity is like the necessity of whatever the saying is. I think you know what I'm getting at. I think having less creative environments for younger players, it's created this thing where it's like guys. Yeah, there we go.
Innovation is the creation of necessity.
Yeah, whatever it is. I think it's just it's made guys a little bit less creative in like, or adaptable in their skill sets, even though guys with like the guys who have, or like are skilled with the ball now, they are so goddamn skilled, but they're not necessarily as creative in some ways. Like, if that makes any sense.
It's actually, necessity is the mother of invention.
There we go.
There you go.
There we go. I was stumbling over that.
Dancing around it.
Yep.
No, it's a good point. Now I'm kind of stumped on this one. Like, who is the best shooter under 30? I mean, like, Ant Edwards just put up a Damian Lillard type of year.
Yep.
But the problem is he's so limited as an intermediate shooter. Like, he's so, he's 30-something% from mid-range every year. And if we are counting floaters, then that's not in his arsenal either at a solid level. So, but that value of being able to put up 8 pull-up threes a game and make 39% of them, that's crazy.
Yeah. He was at 10 a game this year.
Right. That's 10 total threes.
39.5% on them too. Like, that's,
he was until the very end of the year when he dipped below 40%. But the only players ever to attempt 10 plus threes a game and make 40% of them in a season, the club was Steph, Dame, Clay, and it was going to be Ant. And maybe he joins that club next year. Like, it's insane.
Easily could.
Another shooter that we're not mentioning, not as good as KD and Kyrie, but also old, Paul George. Paul George has had some ridiculous high volume 3-point shooting seasons.
Yeah, but I don't know about 2025 Paul George.
No,
but
at his best. I mean, I'll say this, Kawhi. Because, like, after Kevin Durant, the next guy who I think of who has that combination of size, I can get to my spots anywhere, I can shoot over top of you, I shoot 50+% from mid-range, 40+% from three, pulling up off the catch, and like both as a pull-up and catch and shooter, like, those are the guys who are most elite at both levels in all those different ways with that great size, with the handle, the space creation needed to just rise up. So he'd be probably in my top 5 as an all-around shooter. But the under 30 question is really interesting because it might be MPJ, but also it could be
Malik Peyton Beasley. Pritchard.
Oh God.
It might be Jason. I wanted to say Tatum, but he just doesn't put it in.
He's too inconsistent.
Too inconsistent.
Yeah, he's.
Honestly, like, Malik Beasley is insane. You were mentioning this, Tommy, but like what he does do, coming off screens, off movement. That's why I honestly I shouldn't have put him and Luke Kennard together, because Kennard leads the league in 3-point percentage every damn year. He's so accurate, but he does not stress a defense with that level of off-ball movement like Malik really does. I'd still take MPJ because of the size element, though. But that's close.
Kennard can't get 10 up a game even if he wants to. Beasley will get 10 up if he plays 30 minutes. And 4 of them will go in, if not more.
I'm going to name a couple of bigs. Would you put Cat or Jokic in there? At or near the top 5? I think Cat has a little bit of an argument, but maybe just not the versatility.
Not
Jokic.
Jokic has top 5 touch of any player I've ever seen.
That's more what I'm thinking.
I don't know how to rate him as a shooter, but a lot of his value is 8 feet out, 4 bodies draped all over him, and it goes in it feels like 100%.
He's got the greatest paint touch ever, and it's really not close. But with the 3-point shot, it's just a little too inconsistent, even though he shot 45% if you take out heaves this year from deep. And the functionality of it, the release is just too slow. Too often, if you close out, he kind of has to hit you with that show and go because he can't get the shot off. So I think
the Sombor shuffle, though, has to be one of the most back-breaking shots. He hits that in your face, you just want to quit.
Yeah. And the overall mid-range fadeaway stuff, he's so ridiculously good.
Yeah. He's just an absurd player overall. I just feel like any conversation, I almost have to mention him if it's offensive at this point, just because he's maybe the best offensive player we've ever seen.
I think if we're going 7-footers, it's probably Markkanen. And like he had a down year this year, but the last couple years.
Don't bring his name up, dude.
Okay, sorry, we'll move right past that. But
once we get Kuminga signed to that $20 million expiring contract, we're back in for Lowry. That's what's happening.
Now that he's making $100 million a year.
Oh, Jesus. What a misfire. I think Zach LaVine has to be in there.
Absolutely, yes.
I think he has to be in there, despite all of his other flaws as a player. Just an absolutely nuclear shooter, and still somebody I think the Warriors could have made pretty damn valuable. Because like this is a different conversation, but a lot of his issues are like when he is on the ball too much as a decision maker, how it kind of bogs down your offense. But essentially, if you just turn him into like a souped up Klay Thompson, that's pretty fucking sick. Like that, and that's what he would have been with the Warriors.
And bringing like a little bit or a decent bit of on-ball juice, at least like as a self-created scorer, he's so good. I agree. The passing, the playmaking, definitely a significant limitation. The defensive buy-in, always a major question. But I was in on LaVine. I thought he would have been a good Warrior.
He would have been the answer to the question of what if you could make Klay and Jordan Poole one player.
In a way.
No, I mean it's like I feel bad for him because like it would have changed the narrative on his career because like he's meant to play in this Warriors offense. He's a perfect fit. They would have had success. Instead, we know how it's going in Sacramento. They're going to probably win 36 games this year. He's going to continue his career loser reputation. And I'm sure he's okay with it making $1 bazillion. But
in terms of under 30 guys, because I'm still kind of thinking about that, I think it's either LaVine, it's maybe Hero. I guess
is maybe LaVine under 30 anymore?
Yeah, 29. Donovan Mitchell or Book. I think those would really kind of be the four guys.
Trae Young?
No, not
inconsistent.
Not versatile enough, and he can't really get to the mid range like Carson is saying. But I think those are really the four you'd have to think about as kind of the best shooters under 30 currently.
Donovan Mitchell's a good shout because I still think of him more as like a slashing athlete, but it's like how many years in a row has he shot it proficiently on volume from three? You kind of have to consider him in that category.
Yeah, I think his mid-range leaves a little bit to be desired, but like he can go kind of get it from anywhere, especially in the playoffs for whatever reason. He seems to turn it up a level, at least in terms of the volume, which is not easy to do. Like he's able to do that despite some of the other flaws in his game.
Yeah. Okay. Before we get out of here, Carson, I want to do one thing with you. Obviously, we referenced at the beginning here. I want to test your trivia. I want to see where you go with this one. We're going to keep it Warriors related. I have one. I don't know if Tommy has one, but I'll start with. Okay, I'll start with mine. Mine is, can you list every Warriors draft pick in chronological order since Joe Lacob purchased the team? So not 45 years of history. We're talking about the last, what's that, 15 years?
12 to 13, I think.
I don't get to go back to Purvis Short.
No, you keep that to yourself. Save it for one of your videos.
Okay. So wait, so what year is that? Is that 2012?
I guess we're saying, I think his first draft picks were technically the 2011 draft.
He took control. Okay, I'll give you the hint. He took control of the team in November of 2010. So technically his first draft was 2011.
All right. So obviously Klay is the first rounder. I have to do first and second rounders.
Yes.
Okay.
First round's too easy. Come on, man. I can do that.
Look, there's too many Jacob Evans of the world at the end of the first round. All right. Can I come back to the second rounders? I'm probably going to need some hints for those.
Go that way. That's fine.
2012, obviously, we have HB and we have Draymond. Huge draft. And Festus that year, right?
Yep. I was going to say one more guy in 2012.
Yep. Then I don't think we have a first in 2013.
Did we?
Yeah. He may have got some comps to, being the European Derrick Rose.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, who was European D Rose?
Oh, you don't remember this one? We might be
Nedovic.
We might be dating a little bit with that one, Carson. Yeah, he was the European D Rose.
They called Nedovic European D Rose. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, but I was thinking, so he's a second rounder. Okay. I'm gonna try to get all the first rounders first. Loon 2015.
Correct.
Now we have the run of just like hilariously drafting 28th and 30th every year, and none of them are good. Damian Jones. Jacob Evans the third, as I mentioned.
Yes.
2019 is Poole, and
correct.
Pascal obviously has his incredible 2020 season, leading the boys
baby.
out.
Steve's fault that it didn't work.
Yeah, seriously. 2020 is unfortunately the one and only James Wiseman. And we take Nico Mannion that year too.
We do.
2021 is Kuminga Moody. 2022 is the one and only Pat Baldwin.
B&J.
God. I forgot he existed.
2023 is Pods. 2024 we get Post. Oh, and we get Gee in 2022, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. That's a good one. Good shout.
Okay. So have I gotten all the first rounders?
Yes, because 2024 and 2025 are second rounders. So
yeah,
you're not. Now we go back to the fun second round picks. So
hooray!
2011, this player was famously Draymond's veteran, and then Draymond said, "You're no longer my veteran."
Oh, I know who it is.
Oh, is that Charles Jenkins?
No,
but he was a 2011 second round pick, so I'll give you that one. They had two second round picks in 2011. Joe loves buying second round pick. No one loves the draft.
No. Oh man, do I know the Draymond vet story? And Draymond disowned him. What position was this guy?
Big man.
Who's a big?
See, we might be dating with Carson with some of this. Carson is a
no. I'm 100... supposed to be able to go back to 1960.
Okay,
but to be fair, second rounders are a little bit tougher, but. Okay, let me just think about bigs on the team round. I mean, obviously
he never really played. I'll be honest with you. He was you can't call a second rounder a bust because there's no expectations on him, but he went the way of most second rounders.
He was if it's the guy I'm thinking of, Sam, he was like a major high school prospect.
Correct.
Yeah, he was a big time high school name. Joe loves high school rankings, so you got to always.
When he was 16, he was going to be the first overall pick, and next thing you know, he's a second rounder, and
I'm trying to think of who was that hyped up. That sound,
Southern California guy.
Yep,
that's a Tommy hint.
That's why I know it.
Yeah.
This guy play elsewhere? Did he play for anyone other than the
really. I mean, he got other contracts. Playing is generous.
Yeah.
His Basketball Reference shows a couple other teams.
It might help me. It might help me. I'm not going to lie.
He made a total of $2.3 million in his career. Warriors, Hawks, Knicks, Hawks was the order of his teams.
God, Warriors being the team that he suited up the most games for.
Mm-hmm. Career ended in 2014.
This is a classic second round pick story, to be honest.
Who am I spacing on here? Warriors, Hawks, Knicks, Hawks.
Yep.
2011 second rounder, big man. I've got all.
There was a little sizzle because he was a big time prospect, and the Warriors were famously cheap under Chris Cohan. So Joe Lacob coming in, splashing a couple mil to buy a second rounder who could be something. It's things that never happened under Cohan. He turned into nothing. But he's most well known for he was Draymond's vet the next year. And he was like all flashy, but didn't practice. And Draymond cussed him out and said, "You're no longer my vet." Wow. Honestly, one of my favorite Draymond stories.
That's
also
hilarious.
aligns with 15 of.
But the thing is, I think Draymond's also like the same age or older than him because Draymond.
Yeah, that's it. Draymond is older.
In college.
He was older.
Draymond had been in college, and I think this kid was maybe, if not straight out of high school, then like close to it, like maybe a year in college.
This is not coming to me.
Jeremy Tyler.
Fuck. Jeremy Tyler. Damn.
Yeah, damn. It's a random one.
All right. So what year is our next?
You got 2012 already. You ran off.
You're missing one in 2012. Yeah. You obviously got the three famous ones from 2012, but technically they had a pick in the 50s.
Oh God!
They love big stiffs who have a 1% chance of making it, and it doesn't happen. I hope Quentin Post doesn't go this route, but at least he can shoot.
I like QP.
Oh my God! Is this Onion Kuzmic? Is this
correct?
NBA champion?
NBA champion.
He was Onion Kuzmic. Team. I always remember him for that. Okay, all right. So now,
So 2013 was
second rounders, right?
20. Yeah. Okay.
Not
So
early
going
on,
through it.
Yeah.
2013, no second rounders. 2014, no picks. 2015 was just Looney, no second rounder. 2016, we're back to buying second round picks. They took Damian Jones in the first round.
Yeah.
This second round pick had a moment. Like, we all thought he was going to be a player.
Yeah.
And he did contribute as a rookie. And then for whatever reason, it didn't work out with him.
So
this is a Jerry West guy. Yeah. Pat McCaw.
Yeah.
He should have been good, man. I still don't know what happened.
He was good. I mean, he was able to play in an NBA champion rotation, even if he was the ninth man in that rotation. He was able to contribute in it, and then for whatever reason,
he had such an NBA wing look to him, just like his build was.
Just looked a lot like Livingston, just the build. Apparently young guys can contribute to a championship team by playing defense. I know it's a crazy concept.
Pat McCaw three-peated. He went to the Raptors.
That's right.
He's got championship DNA. Okay.
He's gotta be at oldest 28 now. Like, there might be hope in. No, it's probably
no, he hasn't been in the league in like 6 years. No, I guess 5 years maybe.
29. He will be turning 30 this NBA season.
He's got a lot left. Yeah, he's got
he's
so much
last.
potential. I can see it.
2021 was his last stint in NBA. Okay, next year.
Yeah.
2018, or sorry, my bad. 2018 was Jacob Evans. 2017,
right?
Second round pick. This guy also contributed, although I would consider him a little bit of a disappointment. This was peak Warriors exceptionalism when they got this guy in the second round.
Oh, Smiley Geach. Wait, no, he's later.
No.
Yeah.
Although one could argue he is also peak.
When I heard peak Warriors exceptionalism, that's who I thought of. I wasn't even thinking about the context. I was just thinking.
This was more. Oh my God! I can't believe
they got him. Yeah. Peak Warriors hysteria, where everyone else was envious of the Warriors.
Because it was right off 2017 championship. Everybody thinks they're going to run the league for the next 8 years.
Defensive player, undersized, big.
Oh, Jordan Bell.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
I almost ripped him because I think of him and Damian Jones like super intertwined, just because they both played. I mean, Jordan Bell,
Damian Jones was so bad though.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Jordan Bell did have his moments, he was.
Yeah.
And he had some moments in the playoffs. He contributed.
He was big in that 2018 Houston series. Genuinely, had some really nice moments.
You mentioned Smiley.
Yeah. God,
the chosen one. Always the visual of Joe standing up when he put up a three will never be.
It's the best thing of all time. It's the funniest gif of all time.
Dude, that was unbelievable.
And that led to Kent stepping down from the organization 6 years later.
Ugh.
I cannot believe, I don't think an NBA player has ever had more undeserved buzz than Smiley Geach. I can't think of it. People always make fun of the Lakers for THT, and just thank God that Smiley Geach hype never got that big. I feel like it was mostly just a Warriors thing because it was
really bad.
Yeah.
Jokic
could be the next Jokic.
Yeah, Jokic comps in the Cron.
It's like when Usman Garuba was getting Draymond comps. You guys remember that? Sometimes you just gotta chill. Yep. Okay, so now we gotta be pretty. Are we into the 2020s or no?
We're in the 2020s. You got obviously Wiseman and Nico Mannion. There was a third pick in that draft, a second rounder, summer league legend or participant, legend to me, but never made the Warriors.
Is it Justinian Jessup? Yeah,
yes.
He did have a good summer league.
2022, another second round pick. This guy's still in the NBA. He's found a home for himself. He did not do anything for the Warriors, but second round pick in 2020.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's not Patrick Baldwin Jr. or Guy Santos, although they're both in the league too.
I know who it is.
Yeah.
This guy has made something of a way for himself.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't go that far, but he got larger than a minimum contract from the Milwaukee Bucks
this summer. Played a little bit for him last year.
I'm not saying he got a big contract. I'm just saying it's higher than the veteran
it wasn't
minimum.
a minimum. So that's something.
I actually kind of liked him when he was with the Warriors. It was just
he's way too young. They had no business taking him.
Right.
We could actually use the current version of him now that he's 23 or 24.
Totally.
I'm trying to think, who is this?
Guard. Long wingspan.
Ryan Rollins.
Yep.
There we go.
Yeah. Okay.
And then you forgot one final second round pick who's still currently on the roster, a 2023 draft pick.
After pods.
Correct.
Okay, who else is still on the roster from that draft?
I mean, there's not a lot of people on the roster.
There's not a lot of people on the roster.
We got 9 guys.
It shouldn't be that hard for you. There's like 8 of them, maybe 9.
Right. Oh, TJD. Oh,
yep.
Yeah,
there we go.
57th pick. What a steal.
Yeah. You know what? I hope he has a bounce back here this year.
Honestly, he was a steal for the 57th pick.
Absolutely.
Still, like when you go through those lists of second rounders, like holy shit, 90% of guys just do nothing.
I think we can
having him entering the year with him being your starting center is more of a roster construction issue.
Yeah.
Than him being a bad pick.
I think we can quibble
100%.
with some stuff about the Dunleavy front office so far, but I think one thing's for certain: he has a good eye for talent. He's a good scout, and that is very valuable. But there's a lot of other stuff hindering kind of the mechanics of getting deals done. All right, I got one of them. We'll get you out of here, Carson.
All right, let's do it.
Can you name? And I think this is in your wheelhouse.
Okay.
So can you name the roster? 13 guys on the 1974-1975 Golden State Warriors.
Oh my
title
God.
team.
I love this so much.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get everybody, but
Okay.
I should get a lot of guys.
Like I said, a 13-man roster. There was only 13 guys on the roster. Only 13 guys put up stats that year.
I love this question. All right, so let's
only
start.
12 on the playoff roster. If you get all 12 on the playoff roster, I'll be very impressed.
Okay, so Butch Beard obviously is your starting point guard. Legend.
Love it.
We've got Jeff Mullins still hanging around.
Yep.
We've got, of course, the one and only Rick Barry.
Yep.
We've got Charles Johnson on this team. We've got rookie Jamal Wilkes on this team. At this time, he was Keith Wilkes. He hadn't changed his name yet. Clifford Ray, starting center, absolute legend.
Mm-hmm.
So those are like the first dudes who come to mind off the top of my head.
You got
that's like half of them, right? I mean, I've still got some more work
7,
to do.
I believe. That
most of the rotation for sure.
It's most of the rotation, but
yep.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to get dudes who weren't in the rotation.
See, I would have gotten 2 of these guys. I would have gotten Rick and I would have gotten Jamal.
Yeah.
Those are the 2 that I would have gotten.
Yeah, well, that's the only 2 you need.
Not a Clifford Ray guy. Clifford Ray's pretty famous.
Yeah, Clifford Ray. Yeah, I saw him. He got like acknowledged at a Dubs game I was at, and I got hyped.
Yeah.
Phil Smith is on this team.
He's on there. Absolutely.
Yeah, Phil Smith was good.
But yeah, we're basically at the back. There's one guy who played some rotation minutes that you're missing in the playoffs, but then we're really at the back half of the roster after that.
Yeah, I should get everybody who played playoff minutes though. Which is hilarious because this is 26 years before I was born. But.
Yeah. Forward played about 20-ish minutes a game in the playoffs.
Okay, that's a pretty good role.
And I don't think you've named him yet, unless I misheard you, but I don't think you did name him yet.
Oh, Bill Bridges is on this team.
He is. That's not who it is, but he is on the team.
He's a good throwback player. He was an all-star with the Hawks. Got himself a ring with the Dubs. We got a forward. Oh, Derek Dickey, right?
That's it. Damn, dude, you're
all right. Am I at 10?
Yeah, you've gotten the first, so you've gotten the top 9 in the playoff rotation, and then you got Bridges.
Right.
And then I think there's 3 left that you haven't got. Yeah. So I think you got 10 out of 13 so far.
I'm not pissed at 10 out of 13, but I'd like to see how deep I can dig. What positions do we have left?
So we got a point guard, we got a shooting guard, and we got a small forward.
Okay. Point guard, shooting guard, small forward. I wonder if I need more hints. By that, I just mean like other teams that they play.
Okay.
Maybe. I'm not expecting you to have any other hints off the top of the head about these guys.
Basketball Reference has the point guard's nickname as Grasshopper.
Oh, that's a great nickname.
That's a great nickname.
Or Hopper.
What happened to great nicknames?
Nicknames, I was about to say, dude, they used to be way better.
Yeah, way better. Yeah, I mean, this guy, Grasshopper, really only played for the Warriors, short NBA career, 6 years. Never really played more than like 20 minutes a game in a season. Let me see if any of these other guys. I think they're all very, very, very short careers.
Okay.
One of these guys literally only played for the 74, 75 Warriors and never played in the NBA.
Okay, I don't think I'm getting him.
Yeah,
he was the Onion Kuzmich of the 75 Warriors.
There you go.
I don't. Yeah, I think I might be tapped out. I think 10
Okay.
might be...
So we got Charles Dudley.
Wait. Oh, I do know Charles Dudley.
Yeah, that's insane.
I know the name at least.
Yeah, we got Steve Bracey, and then we got Frank Kendrick. Frank Kendrick played 1 year in the NBA, born on September 11th. Fun fact.
If only he had known.
That is a fun fact.
Yeah,
wow.
50 years earlier, but yeah,
I've never heard of those. I've never heard of those last two, but I do know Charles Dudley.
Either way, that's so impressive, man. Like I said, I would have gotten 2 guys off of that list. So,
well, like I said, it's mental illness much more than it's anything good to be celebrated. But you know, I guess we'll make the most of our mental illness that we can.
As a man, you need just something to do with everything that's going on in the head. Just pick up random facts. Just pick up random facts. It's more productive than a lot of things you can do with your life.
You're definitely right. You're definitely right.
Carson, appreciate your time. You want to plug anything before you get out of here?
No, thank you guys so much for having me. This was a ton of fun. Love talking Dubs. Love doing the trivia. Love laughing at Environmentalist Kawhi. So this was a great time. But yeah, if you guys want to check out more of my stuff, I've got a podcast, Nerd Sesh, with my buddy Logan. We are doing a ton of NBA stuff. We've ranked just about everything under the sun this offseason, current and historical. And then we do NFL stuff too. So if you are a football fan, you're looking for a fix, then that's all getting started right now, which I'm very excited about.
Yeah, the top 10 peaks stuff has been really fun this summer. I've been enjoying those. Yeah, it's especially as like the summer content or just there's been no sports on. It's been really good stuff. Carson's stuff is fantastic. You guys should really go check out Nerd Sesh. They do a great job. They really look at the game with a good eye. So
thank you, man.
Yeah, go check them out.
Much appreciated.